how Google has recently started to target more and more the affiliate market too with the product reviews updates. This in itself can end up being a roller coaster, even if you're doing the right thing. So you need to understand these shifts in order to identify opportunities, in order to tweak your strategy accordingly. If you want to rank better than your competitors, it's about the alignment of relevant and trustworthy content, popular content, authority, backlinks, but then also great user experience. The whole thing, the whole alignment is needed for very competitive niches. The last opportunity, identifying search shifts and content targeting to update and rank better. So if we've learned something in the last years, literally, is that search preferences can change a lot. For example, home office desk. Take a look at the search volume and the trend of this query before the pandemic and after. It has nothing to do, right? It has increased a lot. And Google has also become more sophisticated to identify the intent of many of these queries. And it tends to change from time to time, right? If we search for CRM software like a year ago, take a look at how the players that are ranking for this query that many perceive as transactional or commercial are now ranked by informational and articles, informational resources, editorial resources, right? So intent shifts, and Google change the rank pages accordingly. But also search features have an impact, right, over time. Especially during search updates, Google can not only rank your website, rank your page can sometimes keep their position at the first organic result. But what happens if Google starts featuring a huge people also ask, or a huge video carousel at the top that before was below you? Of course, it will hurt your click-through rate. You will hurt your performance. So you need to understand these shifts in order to identify opportunities, in order to tweak your strategy accordingly. Doing it so, or not doing it so, we can end up meaning that for articles that you're ranking very well, you will start identifying a decay after a certain time, right? So you don't want this to happen. You want to identify this shift of search intent, of search behavior, of the ranked pages and features that Google is showing, and based on that, accordingly, to update what you need on these pages. Many, many times it's because the content is even outdated and you haven't even paid attention. This is a very straightforward case again of a page that hadn't been updated in the last couple of years, and then all of a sudden it was refreshed, the year included, to show very prominently to Google that it had been updated, and take a look at the before and after in terms of clicks, right? So you can identify these anomalies quite straightforward without you having to recheck again and again. Again, like tools like Write or tools like SEO testing, you can even set an alert. So whenever there's an article there or a page that has an underperforming click-through rate or like anomaly in clicks to out of normal, you will be alerted in order to know that you need to do something about it. You can also set GA4 custom insights alert. In fact, this is one of the very few features that I like the most of GA4, better than Google Analytics Universal. It's very funny because they make this alerts integration much more straightforward to enable. Also, of course, for the ranking drops, for targeted query, the most important queries. Not only ranking drops, but also changes of search features can be also alerted with many of these keyword trackers. And do monthly check to identify changes in impressions, ranking, click-through rate between similar periods of time. For example, here's something that I did is we can identify for which of the queries the clicks increase or decrease versus the impressions versus the click-through rate to identify the opportunities, right? So for which popular terms you have drops in impressions, click-through, or rankings, and analyze the content in case that these queries are very, very meaningful and important for you to target. And again, you can do this sort of validation, also automating it with Write and SEO testing, because they will show you directly the lost keywords, decreasing keywords, and the new keywords. And it's fundamental then to assess them in a way that allows you to identify when it is actually worthy for you to do something and when it's not. And for that, I created this flowchart here, especially relevant to be used whenever there's a Google Core update and you see that, oh, I have been hit. It has decreased in rankings. It has decreased in traffic. What do I do? Well, here you have a flowchart with the different options that you will have to assess if it is worthy for you or not, to update, to target, to analyze further, or just to leave it because in the next update, Google will sort it out. That is actually something that they shouldn't have done. You can identify further queries, topics to target by also doing frequent gap analysis versus competitors, focusing on your current and dropping topics too. Tools like SEMrush, Keyword Gap, it automates the whole thing, and you can identify really easily these opportunities. Also detect these changes in search behavior for relevant topics with Google Trends and Glimpse. With the Glimpse extension, you can get even an alert whenever there's a change or a shift in search volume for many of these top topics that you are targeting, as well as by monitoring your own Search Console new queries too. As I mentioned before, there are tools that allow you to inform you of the new queries that represent an opportunity for you. So you actually can do it in a very straightforward way without doing actually a lot of manual work. This can be pre-automated with the tools that we now have access to identify these further opportunities. It's about identifying these low-hanging fruit that are there rather than obsessing on going for the big terms every single time that we know that, of course, there's a huge opportunity, but it will be much more competitive, right? And this can be done in parallel with that initial analysis that we all need to do from time to time. Every quarter is something that you can revamp to. Without forgetting, and this is critical, that we now have this checklist that Google was kind enough to share with us regarding quality. These are pretty much EAT principles that have been brought to the product reviews area, niche, sector, in order for them to ensure that there's real authority, that there's trustworthiness, that is a real validation and assessment and evaluation going on for them to rank these pages accordingly, right? It is about this. Realistically, many queries for which we didn't thought that it was doable to rank for, that were not relevant, especially if you're competing with weak players. The way for you to outrank them will be by identifying not only these opportunities, but improving versus them, like better performing than them. At the end of the day, if you want to rank better than your competitors, it's about the alignment of relevant and trustworthy content, popular content, authority, backlinks, but then also great user experience. The whole thing, the whole alignment is needed for very competitive niches, and this is what we need to provide in order to perform well. And at the end of the day, this is worthy because of this. A winning trend, increasing trend, more clicks, and revenue that will make it all worth it. I hope that all of this has sparked ideas, giving you more visions of opportunities that you can start leveraging.